All right, good morning. It is September 25th, Monday, and we are in the full first week of Libra season, the first week of a new 6-month cycle. And it definitely has a kind of beginning feeling. And sometimes beginnings can feel like a staircase that's just opened up in front of us. The good thing is we have all been so consciously navigating that we're definitely not beginners, right? We're beginning something, but we're not beginners. We have a level of mastery. We've mastered matters of the heart this year. We've gotten really clear on what our heart is actually aligned to, what our heart truly desires. We have gotten aligned earlier this year. We got aligned with what like Mars type of ideas. We asked ourselves, what are our beliefs? We went through this whole reconstruction process of our belief and mindsets and what we believe is possible in the world. And now with Venus and Mars both moving direct, even if and Mercury's moving direct, we've got some direct motion with ourselves. At least we know how to be directionally accurate with what's on our side of the fence, our side of the street. And even if that isn't completely like we're not in a sense of mastery in relationship yet, is what I want to say. We may have come into some kind of mastery. Like I had the thought literally this morning that, oh my gosh, if I lived alone, I got it dialed in. If I was in no relationships whatsoever, I'd have this dialed in. And definitely things are not dialed in because this person is working out relationship with the other. This person is learning how to be in relationship. And we had a very Chironian healing weekend. And this could have felt all sorts of ways. But what I know is that Venus, the feeling, sensing, emotional parts of us, the receptive parts of us, was in a trine, which was a very healing aspect to Chiron, was saying, okay, I can feel the places where I've healed. I can feel deep inside of me what is still healing, what is still coming into right relationship. And while Venus was exploring all of that, Mars came into an opposition with Chiron, and Mars was saying, okay, I know how my actions have caused the discomfort in my relationships with myself and with the others in the past. So now I have full awareness of how my actions have impacted my relationships, and I can feel the edges in which I am now healing and restoring and coming into more acceptance of myself. So that's sort of the weekend that we moved through as we made this transition into the threshold of relationships. And I want to talk a little bit about the initiation for this week, the Ace of Swords. The initiation this week is 2 pages, and in the first part, I kind of just go over what I explained in our last video about how first we initiate ourselves into becoming in Aries. We navigate our needs and our desires and our values in Taurus. We come to some conclusions about the way to think about the world based on how those needs were met in Gemini. Then we land on some emotions that are a combination of feelings and stories and meanings that we all put together to make some kind of emotional climate for ourselves, which then creates some kind of action in our lives, some kind of presence that we make for our lives, some kind of thing that we want to create for our lives in Leo, which then brings it all together in Virgo, where we bring all those pieces together. We had kind of a final exam last week, a Virgo exam, so to speak, of, all right, so how do you want to live your daily life? What does your Virgoan completed self feel like, relate to yourself, do in the world, create rituals around, etc. And there could have also been a sense of, oh my gosh, I've got so many things I wanted to do and do perfectly, and some of those things they're just not going, that's not going to happen this cycle, and that's okay. I'm just going to accept that this is where I'm at, and this is what my wholeness and completeness looks like now. And so this week we're asking ourselves, so what do we have? What completed? What are we bringing to the table? Are we bringing fruit? Are we bringing weeds? Are we bringing love, compassion, wisdom, fear, laughter, grace? You know, I talk about how this week is the first week of, this is my soup. What do you think? I eat this soup. This is the soup that I enjoy. This is the soup that I'm bringing to the potluck. And I worked hard on this soup for the last 6 months. For my whole life, I've been working on this soup, and it's flavored with all the things that I like. And I hope that you enjoy the soup. And so we show up at the potluck of relationship, bringing our valued family, you know, homemade recipe. And the initiation this week is, if we're all showing up at the potluck with our soups, you're going to like some soups and you're going to dislike some soups. Some people are going to bring cupcakes that are filled with ingredients you don't enjoy, or you do enjoy very much, but make you sick. And some people are not going to really like your soup. They're going to be looking for, like, I don't know, bacon wrapped cheese rolls or something. And you've got some kind of minestrone or whatever. I don't know. So it's a week where we might be taking it personal. That's kind of what this Chiron weekend was about. Maybe we made the best soup we could, and maybe we don't know how people are going to feel about it. And maybe we have a tendency to take that kind of personally. But if we actually just see that, you know, everyone's brought something to the potluck, you know, some people just purchased at the grocery store real quick and showed up. Like, is that okay? Can we still enjoy the thing that people brought? Can we, I don't know, witness whatever it is this offering was and be in relationship with this person anyway, or not? So this whole week is, let's just honor the soup that each person is, and let's honor our own soup. And that's just, some people are not going to like the same spices. We're not going to favor the same things. And what if we enter this week knowing that the ones that like our flavor are going to be attracted to our flavor, and the ones that are not, they're not. And this is just how relationship works. We maybe, because there was a Chiron thing, there may be this emotional experience, this emotional reaction that comes when we hope that people accept our soup in a certain way and they don't. Like, the opposite of Libra is Aries. And if you think about a baby being born to parents, those parents ideally would accept this baby's soup no matter what the baby's bringing. That baby could cry, be colicky, throw up, poop all over itself. That baby could be all full of giggles. And that baby's soup is supposed to be unconditionally accepted, loved, and nurtured by its caregivers. That would be ideal. That doesn't even always happen. And so we're kind of having a mirror of that, except we're adults now. We've like been conditioned by the field. We've chosen certain things in our adult avatar that aren't just because we were born that way. We've flavored ourselves with all these types of character traits, and our life experiences has delivered the nuance of our soup. So it's different than Aries. In Aries, we kind of are entitled to our caregivers' unconditional love and acceptance, even when they're grown, they're adults and they don't always know how to eat the baby soup, right? Like, this isn't a perfect system. The system is designed to create all types of experiences. And some of those experiences are self-deprecating experiences. Oh my gosh, I'm not, they don't like, I was born with people not liking my soup. So now as an adult, how do you organize the elements within you to understand that that's not so much to do with your soup? That's more to do with the person that their life has developed them into, that they've conditioned themselves toward. Even our parents were conditioned to embrace parenthood or not. They had a whole life experience that wasn't womb-like for them. And so this is a week where maturing is starting to happen, maturing in the space of, well, it's air. Libra is cardinal air. So this is again a space of the mind. We're coming into a initiation, into a maturing in the mind of understanding that if there's something painful that we're thinking about in relationship, this is an opportunity for us to ask if that's really true, if it's really true about our soup, or if it has more to do with them. And the weekend gave us, okay, then Venus is saying, this is how I'm going to relate to myself. This is why it hurt in the past. This is why I've developed into the person I am. And Mars is saying, and I can see how some of that has impacted my relationship with myself and my relationship with others. I can see how being in relationship with that has affected. So it's time for our mind to be a servant to our heart and to use our judgment to discern what stays and what goes. We're entering the forest of community and relationship, and knowing ourselves is of utmost importance when we begin choosing who we will spend the winter with. We've learned so much, and so now it's time to use our mind. So now, Libra, whenever I'm looking at a person's chart, Libra or the seventh house, both actually are functioning this way, is how we decide who we trust and what we need in order to trust someone before we go into intimacy, before we go into the winter, right? So we have as much say in that as anyone else does. So we're creating a list in Libra that's going to act as a boundary in Scorpio. So it's time to be curious with ourselves and with others. It's time to not take it so personally. We actually have a moon in Aquarius as this week opens, asking us to kind of create a big picture, release detached perspective so that we can begin to see the bigger picture and create the list of things that will eventually become our boundaries. We don't have to enact those boundaries quite yet. We're still in a space of curiosity, but that's really what Libra season is designed for. Just get curious and decide who you're going to take into the winter with you based on the types of soup you like, basically, and if they taste your soup and they're like, this is too hot. That's not necessary. That maybe is a timing thing for them. Maybe if they relaxed and had a little more patience, the soup would taste incredible. So maybe we're the stewards of the soup saying, I come off a little hot at first. And if you just give me time, I'll be the perfect temperature for you. And you'll be able to take in all the flavor without burning your tongue. And maybe it's a spice thing, Are we stewards of our soup? Are we advocates for our soup? Do we value our own soup enough to kind of give some guidance, or it's almost like, Libra is also the time of the flowers on the tree. It's like marketing, honestly. The flowers on the tree are saying, hey, bees and birds and all kinds of other things, come smell my tree and cross-pollinate with me so that we can actually create some fruit together. And so this is also a time of marketing. If our soup is like, it grows on you, you got to give it, you got to taste it a few times at first, maybe the flavor will be a little surprising and different, but the more you taste it, the more it grows on you. And maybe that's some of the way that we position our flowers, because we really value ourselves. I had an experience over the weekend where I wanted to go to the specific bakery, and there's a lot of obstacles going to this bakery, and there's lines, and it's not convenient right away, and it's kind of expensive, and what you're getting is a unique experience, and it's not all about just loading your plate full of meat and potatoes. Like, it's a whole thing. And I had to sort of, I super deeply value the experience of this place, but I had to kind of sell it to my people because they're not used to having all of the extra things for this experience. And so at first I felt really insecure because I knew that this was different, and I just had to be with how deeply I value it and express that value in a way that was enticing and seductive in a way. So we're also dealing with issues around seduction because of how deeply we value the thing that we are cooking up in our life. So that's what the initiation is about this week. Over the weekend, like I said, there was that healing. The moon was in Capricorn, and the words I have for Sunday, because of that Mars, because of all that Chiron stuff, is that we are healing the way that we do things, we feel things, and we be. We're just witnessing. Okay, I'm taking responsibility. I can see how this has impacted my relationships, and I'm observing it. And by observing it, it's getting my attention and my awareness, and that's the first stage. And so then on Monday, the moon moves into Aquarius. The words I have are, I can see how this wounded me and the other from way high up. From way high up, I can see how this sort of was a thorn for me. And it's okay. I now that I can see it, I can see where that came from. I can have compassion. Maybe I wasn't explaining that my soup's super hot, so everyone would take a drink of it and they would immediately put it down. And all I need to do is say, oh, I keep the temperature nice and hot because I want it to be warm the entire day for you in your thermos or whatever, like I'm using the soup metaphor, but this is a time where we don't have to take it personally that people are burned by the soup. And we can also make adjustments to the temperature if we get that feedback. If we want to, we don't have to. We can just say, no, this is the way it is. On Tuesday, the moon will still be in Aquarius, and on Tuesday, it's going to be opposite Black Moon Lilith, opposite Venus. So we're still looking from way above. We're still kind of tapping into the feedback from the impact of the collective. And we're also looking at Black Moon Lilith after having an entire year, almost from January, after having an entire long period of time in Leo. And she will be moving into Virgo in October. So we are closing a chapter of her bringing us out of our fear of expression. And so on Tuesday, I actually feel like we're going to feel, I am no longer suppressing my expression. I'm just going to own my soup. It is a beautiful, nourishing, amazing soup. And I put some really high quality ingredients into that thing. I may say caution hot on the label, but it's up to them if they don't take my advice. And I'm not going to take that personally. And I'm not suppressing that anymore. So I feel a strong sense of power coming in on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, the moon will move into Pisces. Between Tuesday and Wednesday, it's going to cross over Saturn. I feel like this movement is saying, because I accept and I'm no longer suppressing my expression, I'm now committing to being fully expressed. And I'm clearing the path. That's the words, clearing the path for more of that. I want to say also there's a planet beyond Pluto that was discovered, I think it was discovered in the 90s, called Eris. And Eris will be conjoined with the North Node in Aries. And Eris is considered, it's being labeled archetypally as a planet of discord, of like not necessarily war, but completely dismantling. And we've got a lot of planets like that, right? I think the humans are like, ever since we've known about Aries, it's been in Aries. So I don't think it's a fair assessment. I feel like when we have new discoveries in astrology, that means we're finding new discoveries in our psyche as well. It's an evolution in our consciousness, and we only are able to observe it from the level of consciousness that we're at. And because it's only been in Aries, I think we're seeing an Eris that's in a fiery, like cardinal fiery kind of location. I don't actually intuitively believe that Eris is all about discord, but that's what we're labeling it right now. My intuition has something to do with destabilizing, yes, destabilizing things that are inauthentic. And that could be a dismantling or a discordant energy. But in authenticity, I believe Eris is bringing about absolute congruency, absolute soul sovereignty. And maybe there is a lot of discord that needs to happen in order for absolute coherence and congruence and authenticity to land in the human psyche. And so we may feel some disruption on Wednesday. The moon, this is the words I already said were clearing the path for more. So clearing the path for more could mean discontinuing some kind of pattern that you had with yourself. The moon's in Pisces, preparing to be full in Aries. Every time the moon is in Pisces, we're ending some kind of cycle emotionally with ourselves. And so there could be some clearing that's making a path for more congruence, more coherence, more authenticity. And maybe there will be a little discord. We're going to be feeling the flavor of Venus squaring Uranus as well, starting on that day. So the rest of this week is kind of piggybacking on that energy that's clearing our path for more. Thursday, the moon will be conjunct Neptune in Pisces, and then it will move into Aries. It's preparing to be full. It's getting fuller and fuller and fuller. So those of us that are very sensitive to the moon's fullness, Thursday may be a very pregnant day. And the words I have are just all the possibilities. Clearing the path for all the possibilities that are ideal, all the possibilities. It's what if we actually use this week to fully get in a space of advocacy for ourselves, and we see all the possibilities that can happen when we're no longer dismantling our own power, dismantling our own like trust in ourselves, our own worthiness. And then on Friday, Mercury will be trine. This is a big day. The full moon on Friday. I actually perceive the full moon to be kind of a very strong day. And the words that simply I have are, I'm choosing a path. It feels active. It feels like it's revolutionary. Both Venus and Mercury are aspecting Uranus. Uranus wants to create sustainable change. I'm choosing a path. It may feel revolutionary for me. I'm claiming who I am. The moon is full. I'm full with myself. I'm bringing that fullness into relationships. And on Saturday, Saturn is moving into an opposition with Black Moon Lilith, actually. Black Moon Lilith is moving toward Virgo. Saturn is moving toward the beginning of Pisces. They're less than a degree away from each other. Saturn is the structure of all the unseen. It's like proof of what we have faith in. And Black Moon Lilith is saying and I am no longer afraid to express myself. So the words I actually have are, now I magnetize in that direction. I'm choosing a path on Friday, and now I am magnetizing in that direction. I'm making tangible what I have faith in. I'm no longer afraid to express myself. So when we go into our breakout session as a group, I'm going to open up the charts and I'm going to describe where the Eris disruption is clearing things out this week. I'm going to describe the completion that we have in our expression. And I'm going to describe again, the thing that we're creating more sustainability around with Uranus. So thank you so much for being here for this, and I'll see you next week.